We'll start from this eighth lesson which I sent you. Other things are questions. You can need to take the printouts of them.
Yes, sir.
Take printouts, but make sure you write them at home. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What's the eighth lesson we have to discuss? Public relations and event management. This event management is a high-paid job. To Google and see event management job opportunities. Then you will find out. In simple terms, the public relations is explained as a welfare measure in the attempt to earn goodwill on the part of an individual, making the full use of one's ideas as well as behavior. Now, if you go to school, you tell your friends good morning, you tell your teachers good morning, sir, good morning, madam, right? For Sinhala medium students, say Aibowan. When they leave the school in the afternoon, they tell, we are leaving, madam, we are leaving, sir. You wish on their birthdays, you attend their weddings, their funerals. That means you are keeping public relations with your friends, relations, teachers, etc. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. To earn the goodwill of the individuals. It is also an attempt to win the goodwill in terms of well-planned, steadfast ways and means. Now, we don't do it in a planned manner. Until today, you may have not known that you are doing just for public relations. We do it naturally, right? We smile with people naturally most of the time. We tell happy birthday naturally because they are our friends. But that is also public relations. In this lesson, we are going to learn how public relations and event management is done in a well-planned way. The term public may refer to a group of people living in a particular society who represent the necessities. They have necessities. Sinhalese people who represent the Sinhala society in Sri Lanka have necessities. People who represent Islam society in Sri Lanka have necessities. Right? They are group who yearn to fulfill their necessities. These necessities need to be fulfilled by units like groups, states, institutes, and or mediators. We fulfill our necessity as a group, class group, school group, staff group, state, Sri Lankan state, Indian state, or state. There's another meaning of state, that is provinces. In Sri Lanka, we say Western province. In India, they say Bihar state, right? Punjab state. In USA, they say California state, right? States. State is something like province, not the same thing, but have similar meaning. The term relations may mean the sharing of common ideas, actions, and mutual understandings. These two terms could be linked to a single entity which only looks in-depth human qualities. Human beings, when living together, share their experiences as a family consisting of father, mother, and children. As anthropologists point out, the strengths of these individuals is an inseparable link. These links give way to public relations, which can be seen in the molding process of the units known as public. The evolution issues in a society too give way to public units. These units consist of such complex factors known as educational, religious, cultural, political, and economic. Political units, cultural units, religious units. In your village temple, you have religious units. The very same factors give way to the development of complex units of mutual human relationships as well as strengthening them. As the strengthening of these units into enterprises, institutes, organizations are observed, the subject area of public relations too is to be observed as a discipline in the same manner more scientifically. Right? When we strengthen our units, when we strengthen our business group into an enterprise, when we strengthen our tuition class as an institute, when we strengthen all the countries, when we gather all the countries as an organization, for an example, United Nations organization, right? The subject areas of public relations too is to be observed as a discipline. Discipline means subject. Public relations became a subject. Earlier it was natural. Then it became a subject. In order to gain more attention towards a particular special unit and to gain the attention as intended to the same unit, the concept of public relations had paved the way. This achievement is directed as an empowerment entity. It is the public relations that extended power to all these units. The spread of the concept of public relations too is a dependent factor related to the functions of this unit. As such, public relations is not an isolated entity. It is enveloped with a message that is communicable. We have a communicable, we have a message that can be communicated in public relations. The concept of public relations has spread into various social units, such as trade and commerce, business dealings, hospital services. We don't go to government hospitals because the doctor, when we are in a queue, right? Hundreds of people are in a queue. My number is 99. All right. After 98 people, I meet the doctor. He doesn't look into my eyes, right? He doesn't ask, what's your problem? When I cough, I just have to cough. He will write the medicine and give. Go, take this. He even doesn't say, go take this. Just give me the hand over the prescription. But when you go to a private hospital, right? There's a receptionist. He or she asks, how can I help you? Then they direct us to the nurse, to the doctor, right? To relevant places, lab, etc. Right? They also greet us. Good morning, good evening. How are you? How can I help you? So which hospital has more public relations, private or government?
Private.
Yes. That's why we give money to them. We don't like to give money to a government hospital because they don't have good public relations. Associations, companies, states, Sri Lanka as a state must have a good public relations with India as a state, a country. When Narendra Singh Modi became the Prime Minister of India for the third time, then our president congratulate him. Our president may not like him, but he congratulate him, call him and congratulate. Through Facebook, Twitter, they congratulate. Right? That is public relations. Administrative services and non-governmental organizations. NGO you may have asked. They have proved to improve the quality of services rendered to the public at large. This too had given stability to run the services in a better manner, as well as spreading the intended services to the fields in need of such services. Origins and growth of public relations. There happen to exist various types of social relations in the ancient social order. They are basically developed on the human needs and requirements of humans in interaction. Public relations go back to the history about 4,000 years. In a cuneiform clay tablet, you can see it in this picture. Cuneiform clay tablet found from Iraq, one finds a series of advices as given by the rulers to the members of the public sphere. The attempt of the advice includes the questions as to how one could reap the harvest, how the irrigation methods could be affiliated in order to yield better results in the process of cultivation. The historical document is a sufficient indication that shows the public relationships that existed between the rulers of a state and their subjects, known as citizens. Subject means citizen. How did rulers have a good public relations with their citizens? If you have done O-level history, you may have heard about Tamli, Badulu Tamli Pier. Badulu Tamli Pier is a letter carved on a pillar, stone pillar. Tam means stone pillar. There are letters, words, advices. That pillar letter, right? Stone pillar letter give advices about a marketplace. Okay, there's a marketplace there. These are the rules and regulations of the market. You have to abide by these rules. That is public relations. Right? Ashoka, King Ashoka.
Okay.
Yes, okay. King Ashoka has inscribed a lot of letters on stones. They give advices. Ashoka says, this is my lifestyle. I used to eat a lot of meat before I became a Buddhist. But now I have started reducing meat consumption in my palace. I'm trying to be a vegan, a vegetarian. He says to the public. That is his public relations. King Nishankamalla is the most famous person in Sri Lanka, famous king, who inscribed many letters on stones. Right? He says, I visited this place. He's a person who didn't do much development in this country. Dutugamunu built Ruwanweli, Walagamba built Abhayagiriya, Dhatusena built Kalawewa. Nishankamalla didn't build anything specific. But he goes to these places, he visits these places and inscribe letters there. I visited this place. I gave some money to develop this place. Right? That's how he keeps public relations. Nishankamalla comes from India. His father, his ancestors belong to Indians. He's not a pure Sinhalese, but he says not only Sinhalese, he doesn't mention Sinhalese, Govigama caste. Govigama caste got this kingship in Sri Lanka at the beginning. He says not only Govigama caste, other caste people also can become the king if they are Buddhists in the stone inscriptions. That is public relations. Understood?
Yes, sir.
The historical document is a sufficient indication that shows the relationship that existed between the rulers of state and their subjects, known as citizens. This is a clay tablet. This picture is a clay tablet. That clay tablet has letters. They seem to be pictures, but not pictures. They are letters. You may have seen Chinese letters. They are like pictures, but letters. The public came to know how Julius Caesar, the statesman, came to rule Rome with the help of people of the state. At the beginning, he was a citizen. There were other rulers in Rome. So Julius Caesar, took advisors and help from the citizens and became the king. He had utilized a formula to win the hearts of people by a technique that goes as when. When means I came. With means I saw. With means I conquered. It is clear how Greeks and Romans used the techniques of public relations skills in order to broaden the promotion of cultural factors, promote the cultural factors. This is our culture. They say in public relations, Greeks and Romans. This resulted in the developing the understanding of poetic visions that came to be described among its members of public. In our indigenous situation, the concept of Atcam or rendering a Atcam or rendering a hand measure in cultivation, the bestowing of land for cultivation to farmers, the giving away of gold and silver awards symbolizes the status of honor game. Akkam, you have a land, you cultivate paddy there, I am your neighbor, I come and help you. That is Akkam. Then I have a land, I may have green grams, mung, right? Yams, whatever. You will come and help me in my cultivation. That is also Akkam. Sharing, help, not sharing money. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Akkam, okay, Akkam. ATHKAM, Akkam. One word, ATHKAM. There's a printing mistake, okay?
Okay, sir.
Take the print out, otherwise it will be difficult. You have to write down the extra examples. The insight studies and research land into these indigenous aspects of public relations may help foster the further development of the subject in the discipline. As a concept, the subject of public relations developed in the European context after the Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution, you learned in your history lesson. They take work from their workers, even from children, right? For 10 hours a day, 16 hours a day. They had to work in factories and farms like slaves at the beginning of Industrial Revolution. Then they started fighting against these people. Workers, give us more wage, give us more salary, give us more leave, give us more freedom, give us less working hours. Then these factory owners, farm owners had to give people an 8-hour shift. Understood?
Yes, sir.
To keep public relations. As a concept, the subject of public relations developed in the European context after the Industrial Revolution. The growth of the phenomenon is a result of the formation. Now, you may have seen garment factories. They provide buses. 1,000 people work in the factory. They give about 100 buses free of charge to the workers. Okay, you can travel in our buses. We will collect you from your doorstep. That is public relations. They gather them and organize musical shows, picnics, get together, family gatherings. That is public relations. The growth of the phenomenon is a result of the formation of industrial units, such as workplaces and factories. These units where humans were employed need a sense of conflict management, how to manage conflicts, how to solve problem among people in order to address the wait. These units where humans were employed need a sense of conflict management in order to address the issues. It was the public relations that came to be put into action as a suitable measure. In America, in the state of Pennsylvania, there occurred a railway strike, and the strike is in the coal mines. More than 100,000 people were participated in the strike. 100,000, more than 100,000 people were participated in the strike under the leadership of Ivy Lee. What's his name?
Ivy Lee.
Ivy Lee. He is known as the person who activated the first public relations unit in 1904 in New York. He had public relations with the laborers as well as with the factory owners. A special attention was drawn to public relations except during and after the First and the Second World Wars. In 1942, as the Second World War triggered off, Elmer David, who said to have established a unit in order to disseminate war information. From this unit, there came out various types of support to the masses by way of getting to know in keeping terms with public relations. He disseminated war information to the public. Elmer David, like newspapers, like television, like radio. He gives messages to public about the war. That is also public relations. In 1945, Edward L. Bernays, what's his name?
Edward L. Bernays.
Published a book titled Public Relations. Public Relations. The book included facts pertaining to the theoretical aspects of public relations. Furthermore, Bernays attempted the role of ethics in relation to public relations. He has mentioned the role of ethics in relation to public relations in his book Public Relations. After 1950, as public relations got widened as a subject around the world, most universities included this topic into the curriculum. After 1950, it became a university subject. Today, the subject of public relations is included in subjects such as economics, political science, social sciences, environment, culture, etc. You learn economics?
No, sir.
No. The two scholars, namely James Gruing and Todd Hans, designed four models taking into account the historical development of subjects. They are as follows. Model number 1, press agentry model, publicity model. This indicates the nature of those beginning of the press agencies that influence the public opinion. Press agencies means newspaper organizations influence the public opinion. the idea of the concept of promotion and how it came to be included in media world. How it tempted to at times in exaggeration rather than the presentation of the truth. Right? It tempted to at times in exaggeration rather than the presentation of the truth, not the truth. We had a war, Sri Lankan army had a war with LTTE. LTTE may have had radio channels in those areas, newspapers in those areas. They may have told Sri Lankan army is losing the war. In our area, the government papers promoted the war, saying that Sri Lankan army is winning the war. That is exaggeration. We don't know who was telling the truth. The visualization of one-way communication flow. That is one-way communication flow. Public didn't have any interference at the beginning to newspapers. Nowadays, public send postcards, letters to newspapers. If the newspaper tell a lie, if the television tell a lie, if the radio tell a lie, they criticize that on social media. That is two-way communication flow, circular communication flow. At the beginning, there was only one-way communication flow. Number two, public information model. This underlined its need to know the genuine, truthful news, understanding the fact that the communication should not underline or hide what is to be informed. Public information model, right? This press agency model says, publicity model says, don't think about the public opinion, just give them news. Truth or lie, just give them news. Public information model says, need to know the genuine, truthful news. Understand?
Sir, can you repeat?
Now we are learning four models. Introduced by who? James Gruen and Todd Hunts. Who introduced?
James Green and Todd Hunts.
Right. They introduced how many models?
4.
Four models. Regarding what? The historical development of the public relations subject. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Model number one, press agency model or publicity model. This model, in this model, what did they do? They gave news to people in newspapers. Truth or lie, they give their ideas in the newspaper. Understood? Now you are the press agent. You have a newspaper at the beginning of public relations subject, right? During the war, you give news about war. You don't know, the people don't know whether this is truth or lie. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. Number two, then what happened? After several years, what happened? Then came the public information model. There are no models like that in the real world. These two people, right, James Gruen and Todd Hunts say, this era worked in this model. Next era worked in public information model. Understood? Ask again if you didn't understand.
Okay, sir.
Understood? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. This era, the second era, Todd Hunts named second era as public information model. James Gruen's named second era as public information model. This underlined its need to know the genuine, truthful news. And nowadays, then newspapers owners started telling, we can't lie people again and again. We have to tell them the truth. understanding the fact that the communication should not underline or hide what is to be informed, right? We should not hide what is to be informed. The understanding of the nature of its one-way flow of information. Still, that is one-way flow, understood?
Yes, sir.
At the beginning, not the truth, not the lie. Whatever they wanted to tell, they told through newspapers. That is one-way flow information. Second era, public information model, they started telling the truth, but that is also one way. Public couldn't interfere with the message, understood?
Yes, sir.
Then comes the third era, two-way asymmetric model. In 1900, the increasing level of commodities had the competitive behavior akin to the subject of concept of promotion, the imposing of distribution communication on the target audience, right? Distribute communication on the target audience. The impact of the scientific motivation studies and the use of psychological use of technique. Now they use psychological use, right, in the public relations. Scientific studies are used in public relations. The development of the two-way communication flow are third era developed the two-way communication flow. Understood?
Yes, sir.
The necessity to gauge the imbalances created through the same, how the same few tends to create an adverse effects as well as effective environment in the communication process. Two-way symmetric model, number 4. Fourth era. James Green and Todd Hunt says public relations developed a long way, in a long way, right? It took several years. At the beginning, the first era, then the second era, then the third era. Now we are discussing the fourth era. Two-way symmetric model. The dawn of 1980 shows the development of the subject of public relations. At the beginning of 1980, we can see the development of public relations, how effects came to be adverse and how ethics tend to be underlined. Explanation given to public relations and the impact on ethical codes. The ideology of need to change understood by propaganda organizations. Propaganda is something like promoting things, spreading news. Hitler had a minister for propaganda. His name was, can't remember the name, I will tell you later. A minister sits, it's like the minister of media, understood?
Okay, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
He says, that minister says, tell a lie 1,000 times, then it will become the truth. What did he say?
Tell the lie 1,000 times, then it will become the truth.
Yes. That is called propaganda. War propaganda, political propaganda, right? Nowadays, Ranil says, the president says, I solved the economic problem in Sri Lanka. How did he solve? We have a debt, billions of dollars. We have to pay billions of dollars to China and other countries. Did he pay the debt? No. He asked them, please give us some time to pay the debt. That is not solving the problem. That is called delaying the problem, postponing the problem. Understood?
Yes, sir.
However, he says, I solved the economic problem in Sri Lanka. His colleagues say the same thing. His media say the same thing. Rupavahini, ITN, Derana, Hiru, these people say the same thing. President solved the economic problem in Sri Lanka. That is called propaganda. If you don't understand, ask again.
Understood, sir.
Right. The development of such areas as conflict resolution, discussions, seminars, discourses, event management, etc. The aspect of mutual understanding, mutual dignity, and respect to each other. The subject of public relations gaining an effective tool in communication. The need for public relations and its significance. I'm sure you haven't taken your printout yet. Understood? Is it true?
Sir, didn't hear.
You didn't take the printouts yet, right?
I took the printout, sir.
Right. If you have taken the printout, mark the second topic, the need for public relations and its significance. Okay.
Okay, sir.
They may give the same topic as a question. Explain the need for public relations and its significance. So you have to summarize this. The public relations have to be utilized in order to bring about more effective results as a communication tool in a particular unit section of the society. In the direction, the following functions could be observed. Philip J. Kitchen, what's his name?
Philip J. Kitchen.
In his book titled Public Relations, Philip J. Kitchen also writes a book called Public Relations, Principles and Practice. Public Relations, Principles and Practice, that is the book name. The basics and the significance are shown as follows. Public relations contributes a lot as a management function. He says public relations contributes a lot as a management function. How can you manage your company? How can you manage your institute? How can you manage your small business? That is public relations. Public relations as an activity and envelopes several objectives into practice in a wider perspective of its performance. Public relations activate in a two-way process and as a mutual force. Public relations should be two-way process. You must give people time to speak. You must give people to time to give their ideas, right? That is public relations is a two-way process. Philip J. Kitchen says. Enlightening the consumer on the need for public relations not as an isolated personal manner, but as a need for awareness. Enlighten the customer. Give ideas to customers. Give advice to customers on the need for public relations, not as an isolated personal manner, but as a need for awareness. The relationship emerges from the public relations is not for a short term, but it's a long-term phenomenon. He says the relationship emerges from the public relations is not for a short term, but it's a long-term phenomenon. In addition, arises the following. The need for the part of an institution to build up the relations between the public and the unit or the organization concerned. To discern the art of providing the goodwill and the spreading of widening the understanding that should exist between the public sphere and the concerned unit of participation. To understand the public conscience and the impact of the same or the function of partial objectives of the unit concerned. Understand the conscience of public. Understand the heart of the public. Understand the